simple. Oblivious to the shock and the thoughts going through the minds of the others, Zhang Xuan smiles. Even though the Cao Xiong is known for its invincible defense, its body is streamlined like a sharp sword. It specializes in quick assaults, and overcomes its opponents through speed rather than strength. From this, it can be inferred that its disposition should be that of a sharp sword rather than a heavy mountain. Given how the painter got the disposition of the savage beast wrong, it is clear to see that it is an interpretation. Master Lu Chen's body sways. It isn't that the other party is inaccurate in his appraisal, but he is too accurate in it. All along, he had thought that since the Cao Xiong is known for its invincible defense, its disposition should be heavy like a mountain. The reminder from the youngster makes him recall an introduction on the savage beast from a book. It mentions that it is extremely fast, killing its opponent without even revealing itself. This is precisely the reason why very few people have seen its true form. One of the greatest taboos of a painter is to mistake the disposition their painting should carry. If even the disposition is unfitting for the subject, then even the most valuable of paintings will be reduced to trash. Zhang Xuan is already sparing his pride by saying that the painting isn't bad, instead of saying something more extreme. Excellent. Incredible. With his face flushed red with excitement, Master Lu Chen expresses his high appraisal of Zhang Xuan. If it is just a single painting, it is possible that it might just be luck or coincidence. However, to see the crux behind two different paintings in an instant, he can confidently say that the youngster before him might look young, but he is a true master painter. His skills can only be superior to his own. It is easy to make friends, but it is hard to find a soulmate. Throughout his career as a painter, he is unable to find an equal in the entire Tianxuan Kingdom. Usually, when he deciphers a painting to the others, they would only respond to it perfunctorily and instead focus their efforts on praising him. No one was able to truly understand the essence of those paintings, needless to say, to point out the flaws in them. Friend kind of soulmate, this is precisely the reason why he feels desolate, and often opens up his residence to encourage diligent juniors in the hope that there will be someone to succeed him. At this moment, upon meeting someone who is able to point out the flaws and weaknesses of a painting, he feels as though he has met a soulmate. How can he not be delighted over it? If not for his strong will and self-control, he might have leapt in joy on the spot. Seeing the master so exuberant, Huang and Bai Xun no longer bicker and stare at one another. Their eyes widen into complete circles, almost popping out from their heads. They have been acquainted with this master since young. He is always calm, and no matter what comes in his way, he never allows it to interfere with his mind. The last time the emperor sent some servants to deliver the harsh land's night illumination pearl to him, a gift that is worth a king's ransom, he didn't even take a look at it before ordering a servant to keep it in the warehouse. Yet, a casual answer from the young man leaves him in such a state. Could it be that his words are true? At this point, the two of them shot their gazes towards the young man. However, no matter how they stare at him, he looks nothing but ordinary to them. Zhao Yu, aren't you going to introduce this gongzi to me? While she is still struck with bewilderment, Master Lu Chen's words echo in the room. Introduce? Upon being questioned, Huang is taken back. Only now does she realize that she had not asked for the other party's name. Her face turns red and she scratches her head awkwardly, as she turns towards Zhang Xuan and asks, "Ah, right, what is your name?" Hearing these words, Bai Xun, who is sitting beside her, looks constipated. Just a moment ago, he was still overwhelmed by jealousy, thinking that someone has beaten him to his goddess, causing the urge to beat up this youngster to well up in him. Only now does he realize that Huang doesn't even know his name. If only he knew earlier, he wouldn't have gotten so angry over nothing. However, his dilemma doesn't end here. Immediately after, he hears Master Lu Chen's angry voice. "What do you mean by he?" no decorum at all. This little brother here is a peer of mine, you will have to address him as a master in the future. Peer? This time, not only Huang Yu and Bai Xun feel dizzy-headed, even the butler Uncle Cheng freezes in shock. The three of them stare at Zhang Xuan, as though they are looking at a monster. What kind of standing does Master Lu Chen possess? Emperor Shen Zui's teacher, a true emperor's tutor. There isn't a single person in the entire kingdom who dares to claim to be his peer. If one were to do it, it would mean that one is claiming to be the senior of the country's emperor. For a person of such standing to view a youngster, who isn't even 20, as a fellow peer of his? Surely I am hearing things? Didn't you all hear my words? Seeing the two of them in a daze, Lu Chen chastises them again. Yes. Bai Xun and Huang Yu hurriedly bow, paying respect to the master. There is no need to be so formal. Zhang Xuan didn't expect Lu Chen to be so polite. He nods his head helplessly and says, I am Zhang Xuan. I just happen to understand master's paintings out of coincidence. I am not fitting of the title of a master. So it is little brother Zhang Xuan. You can't put it like that, manners are manners. You are able to see through the flaws in my work with just a glance. This means that you are well versed in paintings, and you possess an exceptional eye for them. If you aren't worthy of the title of master with your standards, wouldn't that mean that I am unable to live up to my title as a master as well? Lu Chen says. Zhang Xuan laughs dryly. It is true that he is able to point the flaws in the paintings, but that isn't because of his abilities in that aspect. He only made use of the cheat called the Library of Heaven's Path. Without this, needless to say appraising it, he might be scratching his head with a confused expression, unable to even identify what is being drawn. All right, stop being so polite. Feel free to reprimand these juniors when you meet them in the future. Unsure about what Zhang Xuan is thinking about, Lu Chen casually says. Juniors? Feel free to reprimand? Bai Xun and Huang Yu are on the verge of crying. The heck, we are around the same age, and yet you became a senior of our grandfather's generation in an instant, dude. You are way too formidable. Ignoring the despondent duo, Master Lu Chen looks over in puzzlement. Little brother, to follow Zhao Yu here, you probably aren't here for leisure. May I ask what is it that you require my help on? I have heard that Master has a wide collection of books. The reason why I am here today is to find some Fighter 6 Dan cultivation technique manuals, to browse through. Hearing Master Lu Chen question his purpose, Zhang Xuan hurriedly replies. The main aim of his journey here is this, he mustn't let this opportunity slip him by. My collection of books is quite vast, but they are mainly on painting. I do not possess many books on cultivation techniques here. As for those on Fighter 6 Dan, I only have a couple of them. They are in my study. Come, I will bring you over to take a look. Hearing his purpose, Master Lu Chen strokes his beard with a smile and stands up. Lai, your study. The butler Uncle Cheng quickly walks forward and asks questioningly. Lai, old Master Lai's study does possess quite a lot of one-of-kind limited edition books, and each of them are extremely valuable. He has never allowed any outsiders to enter his study, and even Emperor Shen Zui was blocked at the door when he came the previous time. There was a maid who wasn't aware of the rules, and ran in to clean the room. In the end, she was beaten to death. This is precisely the reason why the study of the Lu residence is the forbidden zone within forbidden zones, and no one dares to enter it yet. Lai intends to bring in a young man who he had just met, leaving him at a loss. The reason why I don't allow others to enter my study is for fear that they would afflict it with their vulgarity. Little brother Zhang Xuan is a fellow peer of mine and a master painter. It is an honor of mine to have him enter to offer me some pointers. There is no reason for me to stop him from entering at all. Master Lu Chen's face darkens. Yes. Uncle Cheng retreats in a fluster. He may be ignorant about painting, but even he is able to tell at this point that there isn't a single error in the appraisal of the young man. Otherwise, it is impossible for Lei's attitude to do an 180-degree turn and act so amiably. Let's go. Master Lu Chen leads the way, while Zhang Xuan follows behind him. After a moment, they reach a wide room. As expected of a master whom Huang was full of praises for, the collection of books in his study is massive. All kinds of manuals fill the shelves, and there are at least hundreds of thousands of books here. Zhang Xuan feels as though he has walked into a library. Walking between the shelves while taking a casual look, it is exactly as the other party said. The books are all on painting, and there are barely any on cultivation techniques and martial arts. Those on cultivation technique are over here. There are only a handful of them. They were left behind from back when I was still cultivating. Master Lu Chen introduces with a smile, as he brings Zhang Xuan towards the corner of the study. Corner, books are stacked densely on the bookshelves and they are all on cultivation techniques and related subjects. There are manuals on Fighter 1 Dan, 2 Dan, 3 Dan and 4 Dan. Similar to Hongtan Academy, the higher the tier is, the less the number of books there are on it. As for Fighter 6 Dan manuals, there are only about 10 books or so on it. The number of books may be few, but it beats having none at all. Initially, he thought that it would be like the Compendium Pavilion, and that he would be able to find a few hundred or even 1,000 books here for his choosing. Now, it is clear to see that he is overthinking it. However, after pondering over it for a moment, the reason for the difference between the two becomes apparent to him. Everyone has a different physique, and thus the suitable cultivation technique for them differs from one individual to the other. Thus, it is clear that the academy would require a huge amount of secret manuals and books so as to ensure that there are sufficient resources for the teachers to cater to the needs of their students, as well as to expand their horizons. However, for an individual, they only require 1 or 2 cultivation techniques suited for them. It is already considered a huge collection for Lu Chen to have over 10 books on Fighter 6 Dan cultivation techniques. Casually picking up the 10 books, he flips through them lightly, hulala, and corresponding secret manuals appear in his mind. Why? Are these cultivation techniques too inferior to appeal to you? Seeing the youngster pick those books up, flip through them and put them down before taking a good look at the contents, Master Lu Chen is slightly bewildered. That's not it, I am just taking a casual look. Zhang Xuan shakes his head. Scanning the surrounding once again, he affirms that there are only these few books in here. Just as he is about to take his leave from the study, he suddenly catches sight of a pile of manuals placed not too far away from his current position. Curious, he asks, these are? Oh, these are left behind by that disappointing son of mine. He likes brute strength, so he collected quite a few secret manuals on enhancing one's physical strength. In fact, he even went to the kingdom's book collection vault and moved all related books here. Master Lu Chen smiles bitterly. In the cultivation of a fighter, zhenqi is the most important factor of all. One's physical body only plays a small role in it, and it is not worth mentioning at all. Zhenqi true essence, although there is the pigu realm, which tempers one's skin and bones in a fighter's cultivation, what truly matters is still zhenqi. Only when one's zhenqi is pure and concentrated can they be truly strong. In the eyes of most cultivators, the physical body is just an auxiliary tool to one's strength, and is of little importance. Can I take a look? Seeing the thousands of secret manuals on heightening the strength of one's physical body, Zhang Xuan feels a little moved. Thus, he can't resist the urge to ask Master Lu Chen for permission to browse through them. He possesses the library of Heaven's Path, so he doesn't need the cultivation techniques in his possession to be profound. With sufficient quantity, he is able to extract the essence of each, to authenticate the true and the false, and distill the truly useful portions from each of them. Even though training one's physical body may seem to be unimportant, and it may be unable to allow one's strength to soar up rapidly, if there are this many books to correct the errors and point out the correct path, the effects might turn out to be significant. Anyway, he doesn't have sufficient books in his hands on 6-dan cultivation technique for him to raise his cultivation realm, so he might as well flip through these first. Perhaps he might even get some pointers on it from the information contained within them. Little brother, feel free. Master Lu Chen smiles. Since he had already brought him in, he wouldn't be stingy about it, allowing him to browse through the books. I will be impertinent then. Zhang Xuan nods his head and walks over to the pile of manuals. Just like before, he casually flips through them. Hulala. Hulala. He is. Looking at his actions by the side, Master Lu Chen is bewildered. I thought that he wanted to read the books. What is he doing, flipping through them like that? Could it be that these books do not fit his taste? That makes sense though. Given how he is trying to look for Fighter 6-dan cultivation techniques, he is probably already at Fighter 5-dan pinnacle. Given his current strength, he has already undergone the pigu realm, and it matters not whether he trains his physical body or not. Perhaps he might be browsing through them out of curiosity. Coming to a realization, he no longer bothers about it. Casually picking up a treasured painting left behind by a master, he examines it attentively. Zhang Xuan finishes flipping through that pile of physical body enhancement techniques within 10 minutes or so. The correct cultivation method. Thousands of manuals appear in the library. Zhang Xuan's mind jolts and light envelops his sight. Then, a flawless manual appears in his mind. Similar to the cultivation technique manuals from before, the book contains the perfect sequence of the correct methods recorded in the thousands of books. Let me take a look. Flipping over the cover, a line of words assaults him and enters his mind. Zhenqi is reminiscent of water, whereas the physical body is the bucket containing the water. With a sturdy bucket, one can fill more water, and the quality of which would be higher. The opening verse causes him to feel enlightened. That's right. Zhang Xuan's eyes light up. Previously, his thoughts were like the others. He felt that it is of no importance whether he cultivates his physical body or not. What truly matters is his zhenqi cultivation. Only upon reading this does he realize how shallow his thinking was. If one loses their skin, where can their hairs lodge into? The same goes for the relationship between zhenqi and one's physical body. Only a powerful physical body is capable of withstanding violent zhenqi strength, to exert even greater prowess. Feeling as though a door has just opened before him, Zhang Xuan can't resist the urge to read on. The more he reads, the more exhilarated he feels. The zhenqi within his body subconsciously follows the method recorded in the book and flows continuously. Jiji. Jiji. Under the flow of zhenqi, his physical body, which wasn't weak from the start, evolves once again. His muscle fibers thicken and his skin membrane becomes more sturdy. His body evolves towards a much more correct and rational path. Kaicha. Kaicha. As his mind is absorbed in the explanations contained within the book, Zhang Xuan isn't aware of the astounding changes that are occurring within his physical body. It is as though an infrastructure has been washed with molten metal. His body is gradually becoming a powerful weapon that surpasses that of ordinary humans. As expected of a technique filtered by the library, it is indeed formidable. From now on, I will call this Heaven's Path Golden Body. An hour later, Zhang Xuan finally finishes his book. His zhenqi has also circulated a single time through his body according to the methods recorded in the book. Wing. After he finishes naming the book glows radiantly and 4 large words appear on the cover of the book: Heaven's Path Golden Body. In the future, I will have to make sure to train in it properly. I am already done training. After finishing the book, just when he has decided to cultivate using the methods recorded on it after returning, he realizes that he had unknowingly completed the cultivation of this body enhancement technique while looking through it. That is to say, he has mastered this body enhancement cultivation technique. There are no errors in the cultivation techniques of Heaven's Path, thus the pace of training is swift. Even though I knew this beforehand, never would have I expected that I would be able to master Heaven's Path Golden Body unknowingly like this. With the experience from Heaven's Path Divine Art, he knows that a flawless cultivation technique is much more effective and allows one to cultivate at an extremely rapid speed, thus he had expected the cultivation of the Heaven's Path Golden Body to not be too difficult as well. Just that, he never imagined that he would complete the cultivation just by reading through the contents of it once. At this moment, he doesn't know whether he should laugh or cry. Forget it, even though I wasn't able to find sufficient Fighter 6 Dan cultivation techniques, my strength should have increased significantly with this set of physical body enhancement cultivation technique. Coming to Master Lu Chen's house, he might not have accomplished his objective of finding sufficient Fighter 6 Dan cultivation techniques, but in exchange, he received the Heaven's Path Golden Body, so it is still a meaningful trip. Just that, the physical body is different from zhenqi. Zhenqi can be easily quantified and it isn't difficult to gauge how much strength one possesses after one is done with one's training. On the other hand, muscles are hidden beneath the skin, so it is hard to measure one's improvement clearly. That's to say, even though he has mastered Heaven's Path Golden Body, he has no idea how strong he has grown, or even whether his physical body had grown stronger or not. Of course, this isn't important. Since he has successfully completed his cultivation of it, he can simply find a strength measuring rock pillar when he returns to test his strength. What is little brother Zhang Xuan doing? At this moment, Master Lu Chen, who accompanied him here, has his mind filled with question marks. While reading his book, he sneaked glances towards the other party occasionally. After flipping through the manuals, this fellow has been standing on the spot without moving at all for 2 whole hours by now. What the heck is he doing? Could it be that he has read too many books and went berserk? It isn't like this kind of situation has never happened before. In the past, there was an extremely talented genius in Tianxuan Kingdom. The cultivation techniques and battle techniques that took other people 2 to 3 years to learn, he only took 2 to 3 days. This is precisely the reason why he wanted to learn all of the cultivation techniques and battle techniques, to piece them together so as to create a set of new skills. In the end, before a new mystical cultivation technique could be born, he went berserk. The youngster, before him, was able to raise his level of cultivation to Fighter 5 Dan pinnacle at such a young age. At the same time, he possesses a master-level competency in painting. Could it be that, just like that senior, he got greedy and some problems popped up within him? Little brother. Filled with suspicions, he can't hold it in any longer. Thus, he steps forward and tries to interrupt Zhang Xuan's thoughts, to prevent him from sinking in even deeper. Just as Zhang Xuan is impressed over the might of the Heaven's Path Divine Art, he hears a shout, and following which, a palm nudges his body. Oh, Master Lu Chen! Returning back to his consciousness, he hurriedly turns around and his shoulders accidentally bump into the ladder. Peng! A deep echo and Master Lu Chen is sent flying instantaneously. His back knocks onto a bookshelf, and the books scatter on the floor.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you